Hey, board gamers, BJ from Board Game Gumbo here, back with another episode of Gumbo Live. I got a special guest tonight. My buddy Alex Goldsmith is here from the Dukes of Dice and also from Gray Fox Game. Hit me up on social media at Board Game Gumbo on Twitter. You can also hit me at facebook.com/BoardGameGumbo or email me at boardgamegumbo@gmail.com. Hey, Alex, before we get started, I got a couple of quick show notes. If you missed last week's broadcast, I got to talk to Carla Kopp from Weird Giraffe Games. She's got the big game Stellar Leap on Kickstarter right now. It's blowing up, so if you get a chance, check out that interview. And on the blog side, we're a proud member of Punchboard Media with the blog. And I had Alex, your buddy, Matthew Ward, one of the Wham Boys.
Yeah, Wham Boys.
Who went real deep on the Scott Pilgrim's Precious little card game from Renegade Games. You might be familiar with Renegade Games from your time there. Yes, also, we got a recap of Louisiana Comic-Con and some reviews of Photosynthesis and Werewords that are going to be coming out pretty soon. And I'm also waiting on a belated Gen Con report on the new Fallout board game from Odiphius. So hopefully we can get that on the blog. All right, BJ from Board Game Gumbo here, live with Alex Goldsmith of the Dukes of Dice. Alex, you are now the chief noisemaker for Gray Fox Games.
That's right, a title I gave myself, which it's always good when you give yourself a nickname, right? That's the cool thing to do.
You got to pick your own title. That's the way to do it. Gray Fox Games.
This picture, by the way, this is my guest picture, which is, I think that's Alexander Pfister holding a box of me from when I named my fantasy board game league team last season, the Albuquerque Fisters.
I was a little disappointed that you weren't in the league this year, I got to say, but I saw the picture and I said, what's that?
Couldn't make the draft.
Oh, man. Well, because you weren't there, they slid me in, and I've got one win, so that was my goal, at least get one win and not go kono-yo, as we say in Cajun. I didn't want to go 0 and 10. So I got matched up with your buddy Sean first week.
And it was close. I thought it was pretty dang close, right?
It was, but, the power of the Dukes of Dice with 7 million listeners and the power of Board Game Gumbo with, 5 people a week, the votes were not close. The score was close, but he just killed me on the votes, so.
People want, man. I can't help you there.
Well, yeah, I went up against the guy that's 93% popular instead of the guy that's 7% popular.
Hey, you had my vote.
Oh, good. Okay, well, I'll take that back then. Yeah, I did. I saw this picture and I said, man, I got to post that up there to show them. So, hey, for those of the people that are watching Gumbo Live that may not know you, tell us a little bit about yourself, Alex.
Oh boy. Well, I was born in 1989.
You don't want to know the hospital.
Yeah, it was in Mount Kisco, New York. That much I could say. Spent a lot of time growing up in Orlando, Florida, then moved to Santa Fe when I was 9, then went to college in LA. But what people mostly care about probably has to do with the board gaming.
Yes.
Got to board gaming in Lansing, Michigan during my first job. I used to be a TV news guy started out with an NBC affiliate in Lansing, Michigan. And I saw some videos online. I don't remember how it came up, but it was a video for Pandemic, and it was a review done by Tom Vassell of the Dice Tower. And I was fascinated because I had always loved games growing up, but I didn't know they could be something a little more special or a little more different. And sure enough, I went to a local game store. I got into play of Catan. I got into play of Pandemic, and I've been hooked ever since. And I've been listening to Dukes of Dice forever, but you and I first got to meet at the Dice Tower Con, and you're talking about gaming. I mean, what a place to do some gaming, wasn't that? Oof. I mean, so there are certain kinds of cons, as I've started to find out. And I've only been going to cons in my capacity in the show for the past couple of years. So there are some true veterans out there. I am not that as far as gaming cons. I've been to 3 Dice Tower cons, and I've been to 1 BGG con and 1 Gen Con. And the great thing about Dice Tower Con, BJ, is, as you and I both found out, is it's a con truly for play. If you get in a bunch of new plays of games, that con is so focused on play and so open to play, and you get to try so many games that are the new hotness so easily. It's a true joy to go there every year for sure.
Man, from 8 o'clock in the morning until midnight, I play games every single day. I love that first part of so when you're walking out of the vendor hall and they had all those tables, you talked about the hotness. Yeah. And just to see games like Photosynthesis or Downforce or whatever the games were, they're just sitting on the table waiting for you to walk up and play.
Yeah. It's not like a lot of other cons where there might be a line or a reservation list or, the way Gen Con does it, you have these event tickets that you might need to buy and pay those to get into an event. It's just walk right up with your group, and if you go the right time of day, there's a good chance something hot will be free. Something.
Dice Tower Con 2018?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
You and I
play my new professional capacity, whether it's with the Dukes or with Gray Fox. I'll be there probably in both roles. So no, for sure we'll be there.
So you played Pitch Car and Flip Ships with me. Flip Ships, I think, was the hit of the con for you.
Oh yeah, I mean that was one I discovered at the con, and it was one that ultimately made my top 10, and I think for good reason. That game.
Wait. Oh, you hadn't played it before?
No, we played it, but I played it I think 17 times at that con.
Yeah. Yeah, you played with me, you played with Jack, you played with everybody.
Oh yeah, I was more than happy to show and teach that game, and then the history of that continued because I ended up going to Gen Con with Renegade as a volunteer. They were looking for some extra help, and I was there demoing Flip Ships like a madman, and still loving it. I got that pattern down. I got that nice little 5-minute demo, nice and tight and fast and ready to sell. And worked with Kane Klenko, the designer of that game. He's an awesome dude, Kane.
Isn't that cool whenever you're able to teach the same game over and over again? Like you start out with about a 5 or 10 minute teach, and then by the end of the weekend, I was teaching Kaiju Crush for Fireside Games, and by the last day, I could get people up and running in 20 seconds, playing the game, 30 seconds, and then teaching what I needed to teach after that. And I kept thinking, that's the way to teach games.
Yeah, it's hard to do, and you have to know the game really well, and you have to do it enough times with that kind of a purpose, because the purpose at one of those cons, at a Gen Con, is to sell a game. There isn't enough time. There's too many people. The crowds are too big to do a full 45-minute game. The difference between like a Gen Con and a Dice Tower Con isn't just the sheer number of new games you get to try. It's also that atmosphere of you can sit down and get a full play of something. I mean, you were kind enough at Dice Tower Con to show me Not Alone. And that was a true treat, getting to play that and getting to play a full game of that, right as the was closing down for the day, that whole
That's
side.
right. We actually played the whole game. Hey, that's never been on the broadcast, by the way. Not Alone's not going to make it, I guess, huh?
What? No, it's on this broadcast or on the Dukes?
No, on the Dukes, y'all talked about it. Both you and Sean talked about your plays, but it didn't make a full review. No,
it might.
Okay.
Sean, here's the thing is, we don't tend to review things that we don't like, typically. Sean, it didn't grab Sean so much. It grabbed me a little bit more than it grabbed Sean.
It's right up his alley. I don't understand that.
I totally get it. And I don't know if it was the fact that he wasn't playing as the Overlord. It's one of those games where he might need to be the one versus the many for it to make any sense for him to like it. Okay. It's hard to know taste sometimes. I mean, he tries to guess at my taste all the time and fails. I try and guess at his taste every now and then, and it fails. I would have thought he would have liked it too. And he's kind of so-so on it. I like it a lot. I like that game. I don't know if it'll end up being with the full review. And part of it, too, is we used to be a weekly show for folks who don't know.
Yeah.
We went bi-weekly, and in going bi-weekly, we got to be just a little pickier about what exactly we're going to review in a given week. You know, it just differs. It's a different strategy than when it's a weekly show. You have some time to fit in stuff that's been out for a little while, and now we got to be a little trendy towards new hotness as best we can.
I mean, you with only 26 episodes, you have to save room for the A teams and the Saved by the Bell board games.
Of course, absolutely.
I'd love to see
reference to the last episode. You actually do listen, which I always appreciate.
Just once, just one weekend out of the year, couldn't y'all do honoring Flip the Tables old broadcast by bringing out some silly game? Y'all have done that in the past. In fact, You guys did that silly Star Wars VHS game, remember?
So we did this, like we spelled it out over the course of several weeks, but I bought him the Star Wars VHS game after I heard, I think it was my first ever episode of listening to Flip the Table. Okay. I bought Sean the Star Wars VHS game off of eBay and kind of teased it out over a period of time and eventually to give it to him. And we played it. We played it during Extra Life at like 2 a.m. And boy, we're in for a treat. That was a weird setting to play because we had to like simultaneously sync up the videos and try and listen on headphones or listen really closely to the actual VHS tape itself or the video. And it didn't go well. It's not a good game. It's not a good game, BJ. I don't recommend that game. But I'm with you on that, on the quirky old game.
Just one broadcast out of the year. I think it was A-Team and Married with Children. I'd love to hear if you found somebody to pick up those games for Sean, because that would be fun.
Can I show you something?
Yeah, sure.
I've got my collection. I just literally set up this shelf over the weekend. I hope it's in here. Have you ever played this, good sir?
Holy cow! You guys have talked about it. I've never played Heartthrob, the board game.
Heartthrob, the board game.
Troy's face, because you always talk about this guy.
This is my favorite thing. I don't know if folks can see this. Ages for all girls who like boys.
Ah,
yeah.
That's no, I've never played Heartthrob, although that's a pretty famous game from Flip the Table, man.
Oh yeah, and let me pull out the most famous card because you have this deck of guy cards. It has 60 guy cards, of which you'll play with 5 each game. Oh, it's classics. You get guys like Mitch. Check out Mitch. You get Jake. Oh, he's a cowboy.
Look at that.
You get Chuck.
Wow, this is straight out of the 80s, man.
You get Ryan.
Oh, yeah. I saw him on Family Ties.
Perfect. I'm going to go through this deck and see other ridiculous things. Jeff, of course. Here's Jeff.
Jeff, the sports guy, of course, right?
Well, there's several sports guys. Russ is super cool. Look at that.
Russ is the saxophone player, but he's a thinker, though. He's not a party guy.
You can tell. Now this card is cheating because you get Max and Rex, so you get a dog.
Look, he's got the flannel jacket.
Yep, of course. Everyone loves Bobby.
Oh, I see. Yeah, Bobby. Yeah, the beefcake. Bobby the beefcake.
I still haven't found the one. Okay, we played this with Steve Avery a couple Dice Tower cons ago. His favorite guy was Jerry. Yeah,
is Jerry the class clown? Maybe
he has to be. Well, here's the thing. So the way the game works is you have those die cards, and then you're using these guys to define their roles. So he might be a class clown, or he might be class president. You don't know. It's defined by the attribute cards every game.
He's got the shirt billowing out and the hat backwards, though.
Now, here's your favorite. Look at this guy.
Dennis?
He's a Gators fan.
Oh, look, he's got no, get that out of my face. Get that out of here, man. Get that out. I'm putting the gris on you, man. Come on.
Okay, but this is the one I was looking for. I was digging through the deck just for this card because I've never played a single game of this without this guy. This is Trevor.
There's Trevor. Oh, yes. He's got the guy from Footloose. What's his name? That's what he's got, those eyes. Yeah.
I haven't seen
sultry eyes.
No, I haven't seen those movies, BJ.
I can never tell because, 9 times out of 10, when Sean throws out a movie reference, you're right on it. You're like, oh, yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course. This is so inside baseball. I hope someone watching this has actually listened to the show, or else they're going to be very confused.
That's what this show is all about. This is inside board games, man. It's inside baseball. Yeah. So I threw up the topic of recent gaming, and obviously Heartthrob has been your recent gaming. Hey, by the way, I always do a little bit of show research.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know we have something in common?
What is that?
Okay. So correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
But as I recall, let me look at my notes here. As I recall, you were I could not find a picture to prove this.
Okay.
Is it true you were the voice of the Santa Fe Roadrunners hockey team?
Yes, I was. That was pretty early on in my broadcasting career.
I cannot find a picture of that, so I'm not sure if it's true.
Now you won't find a picture of that.
No picture of you right behind the mic, going, "It's a power play for the Roadrunners."
Okay, so here's what happened. I was there. This was during the NHL lockout. Are you a hockey guy at all?
A little bit, yeah. I watched the Flames when I was growing up.
You know the NHL lockout happened mid 2000s.
I remember.
During that, Rob Blake, Nelson Emerson, Glenn Murray, Andy Murray, a bunch of hockey guys, brought a team to Santa Fe. They brought a junior A hockey team to Santa Fe, which was a bad idea because they brought it into an arena that only had about 1,000 people in a town of about 60,000 people, none of whom really cared about hockey.
Okay.
So you had big problems. I was a hockey fan at the time. I loved hockey. When I applied for the job, I wanted to be their play-by-play guy. And
how old were you at the time?
I was 15.
15?
15, yeah.
Okay.
15 years old. I had been doing a radio show on public radio in town. It was called the Original Ground Zero Radio. My show was the Banana Phone Show. There's a CD of this I have somewhere.
Oh, I gotta hear this.
Bad radio. So I submitted a tape. It was basically me calling NHL 2K3. I was calling those games, and I recorded that, and I gave that to them as a tape for, hey, I could do this job. And they said, well, we don't really have a radio voice at this point, but we need an intern, so you can take tickets if you want. And so I stood up front, and I took tickets. And the second weekend of this team's existence, the guy who did public address announcements didn't show up. Just straight up didn't show up. So they tapped me on the shoulder about 12 minutes until puck drop and say, hey, we know you've done a radio show before. Can you do public address? I said, yeah, why not? And so I went down to the booth, and I did it the rest of that season and the next season.
Man, that's awesome. What a great story.
Yeah.
So we have something in common.
Stuff too. It's not anything related to board games, so I don't know how interesting that is for folks.
I just love looking up quirky stuff. I wrote here in Louisiana for a crazy time in the 90s. Hockey went nuts. Mm-hmm. It went absolutely nuts. We had a team, the Louisiana Ice Skaters. We averaged about 13 or 14,000 fans per game.
You guys love your sports down there, though.
It's crazy. It lasts about 5 or 6 seasons, and then the attendance tapered off. But man, when they found out they could play sports and watch a boxing match at the same time, because minor league hockey, it's all about the fighting, man.
What league? What league was that?
It was the ECHL, the East Coast Hockey League.
Okay. Yep. I know.
So it was pretty far down. But for a while we were the minor league team for the Houston Aeros, which was the minor league team for I forget which one. But so
ECHL is basically AA, I think.
Yeah, it's basically AA hockey. So never could win a championship, but one of the seasons we got in good. I was in a band back then. We got in good with the management, and they needed a theme song, and we wrote the theme song for the Louisiana Ice Skaters, the Ice Skater Boogie. So when I saw your thing, I said, "What's that?
Can you sing it
right now?" No. I was not the lead singer, so you don't want to hear me sing. No, sorry.
I'm gonna look that up somewhere.
Yes, see if you can find that.
Okay.
No, I leave the singing to Alex Goldsmith. All right, so what we got here? Hey, next up, we talked about Gen Con a little bit. BJ from Board Game Gumbo here, Board Game Gumbo live here with Alex Goldsmith from the Dukes of Dice and from the Gray Fox Games. We talked a little bit about Gen Con. It sounds like you had a good time for Gen Con working for Renegade, but after that, you switched over to Gray Fox Games. How did that work out? They were there. I actually went to their booth one day, saw how they were using. I think they had what's his name, Berkey's tables all over the place.
Oh, yeah, those game toppers. Yeah.
Those gorgeous game toppers. How did you guys get? How did you get hooked up with Gray Fox Games?
Yeah, so that story actually starts way back at Dice Tower Con, oddly enough. So for folks who don't know, and this is another long story, some of which is board game related. I'll try and keep it quick. Basically, I was a TV news anchor for a while, and I quit that in December and went and traveled the world for 3.5 months. Took a hiatus from the show, was overseas, Southeast Asia mostly. Came back, didn't have a job. Didn't know what I wanted to do, didn't have a job. At Dice Tower Con, I'd kind of put the word out, hey, if possible, I'd be interested in maybe working in board games. I decided that after a couple months of looking. And Suzanne Sheldon, a good friend of the podcast and current Dice Tower host, knew of a job opening and hooked me up with Josh Lobkowitz over at Gray Fox Games. And they said, hey, they're looking for a full-time marketer. If you're interested, go talk to them. And I talked to them at Dice Tower Con initially, just as at the very, very tail end of that convention. And then after a few weeks of talking with them, I was going to go to Gen Con, not with them in any sort of capacity, but with Renegade, just because they needed some help. I was there purely as a volunteer. I never worked for Renegade other than kind of working at the booth. And Renegade, great company. So grateful they were able to get me access to that. I wouldn't have been able to get into the con without their help. And really, and great folks over there, Sarah and Scott, and clearly incredibly hot. I remember having to defend the booth as Space Clank and Ex Libris were flying out of that booth. But yeah, it was actually at Gen Con that Gray Fox gave me the heads up that, hey, yeah, we'd like to bring you on as our marketer. And so I basically drove to St. Louis right after Gen Con, and I've effectively been here working ever since, trying to find my way in this on the other side of things, on the actual publisher side of things, which is a new experience and a lot of things I'm learning all at once. Carlos
from the Board Game Gumbo wanted to know, Deception Murder in Hong Kong is one of our favorite games. When Carlos was here, he's up in Iowa now, but when he was here, we played it all the time. It's a fantastic game, of course, from Gray Fox Games. But can you get a pot of gumbo in the next release as well?
All right, here's the thing. The expansion has already been put out. And put out to the printer, that we're currently working on Undercover Allies. So that's going to be coming out in December. That was on Kickstarter earlier this year. Folks are going to be looking forward to that. There's some promo opportunities. Maybe we get a pot of gumbo in one of those. I don't know. Yes. All right. I'll ask. I can't promise anything, but I'll at least ask.
You would make us very happy. Hey, by the way, BJ from Board Game Gumbo live here with Alex Goldsmith, and our buddy is on screen.
Steve O'Rourke, the name father, my arch nemesis.
My buddy. Your
oh, your buddy. I see.
No, I want to say that Steve O'Rourke is a really good guy. Hey, Steve, thank you for watching it. We've been trading some messages, and he knows how much I like Oink games. And the guy had an extra copy of A Fake Artist Goes to New York and sent it to me last week.
Have you played that yet?
Steve. It's in my box. I'm waiting to play it tomorrow night. So I'm breaking out. It's Gumbo. Our Gumbo game night is tomorrow night. So I cannot wait to try. I've not tried it yet.
It's really good. It's a good game for sure.
He's picking on me now about the con name that we used at I think at Dice Tower.
Okay.
Yeah, you put me on the spot and got me to talk during the show when I had the Rasp of Con. I think we named the episode.
That was one of our top. Yeah, it was that episode. Yeah.
Yeah, always good to hear from Steve O'Rourke, the name father. He is tough competition, man. I'll tell you, with Chris Schreiber out the last couple of months because of this game project that he was working on, I thought it'd be easier to get some names in, but man, Steve O'Rourke really, he had some great names the last couple of months. And then the guild seems to have blown up a lot lately. There's just a lot of people with a lot of good names. It's tough to make the top 6 each week, man. Kyle
Kelly's been one of the hot new namers in there. It's cool to see that how that's built up, because it effectively started out of sheer laziness on our behalf. It was Sean and I saying, hey, I mean, we're involving the guild. We're reading comments on the show. Every episode, we struggle to name this episode ahead of time, and we decided at a certain point, hey, let's let the guild chip in names. And man, has that blown up, and it's been really cool to see. It's been cool to see folks like you, and obviously the name father, my arch nemesis and rival, as well as Kyle Kelly, Jimmy DM90.
I was going to say Jimmy DM90. He's always got a good one in there.
Oh yeah. There's some. You gotta bring it hard if you want to get in the top 6 these days. That's for sure.
Yeah, and what I've liked also is that, like you said, it was never anything planned out. It was kind of organic, And there's even kind of a how do you want to say it? Not a hierarchy, but there's a culture now. You have to put it in certain format if you even want to get recognized.
Yeah, if you don't put it in bold, we won't even see it these days. And that's not a rule. It's not an official anything. It's just kind of what happens.
It just came up with the guild, but it is a way for us all to kind of stay in touch with each other in the guild. It's going to be weird with these off weeks. What's going to happen? You've been doing a good job, I think, with trying to keep the guild positive on that. But that reminds me, your duties with Gray Fox Games. It sounds like you're going to be is it Chief Noisemaker or is that Sue's title?
No, that's fine. No, she's Master of Fireworks.
Master of Fireworks. That's right. So, what are they expecting you to do? You're going to be at the cons, I guess. Are you the front face of Gray Fox Games now?
I'm any number of things. I mean, so here's the thing. We have a lot of folks who are good at talking about our games, because I think a big key to a lot of what we do is it has to be stuff we're passionate about. It has to be stuff that we actually enjoy playing to put it out there. And so you've got a guy like me who's a media guy. I guess I can be the face of it, sure. We also have a guy like Josh Lobkowitz, who's our game developer, who's really awesome dude and an incredibly knowledgeable guy, and just fine talking about games, and has appeared on podcasts on Gray Fox behalf before. And then you got Shane, who's the owner of the company, but is perfectly fine, not unlike, say, a Stephen Bonacore making that kind of appearance. For me, it's just making sure people know about our stuff, because while I think plenty of people know about, say, Champions of Midguard or Deception, we've had plenty of stuff that's gone under the radar. And we did a survey recently. That was the biggest thing even our fans said we needed to do, was market and get the word out and let people know about our stuff. You get a game like Seven Ronin, an asymmetric 2-player game, really thematic, really fun. I had never played it before. I hadn't even heard of it before I joined the company. And awesome game that I hope to get more attention for. Order of the Gilded Compass was Dice Tower approved. Didn't really take off as much as we'd like. And so we're trying to boost these things. But we've got some really exciting stuff in the pipeline, including that one over there, Superhot.
I saw you had I don't know if it's you, but somebody posted about it today. I got an email from you guys today.
Oh yeah, you're on the newsletter. Nice.
Yeah, I'm on the newsletter. So Superhot, tell me about Superhot.
So Superhot is a 1 to 3 player deck building game based on the Envie video game. So for folks who don't know, Superhot, the video game, is a first-person shooter where time only moves when you move. So the enemies will kind of place or move very slowly, letting you dodge bullets and do all sorts of Matrix-style moves. This is a micro deck builder game where you have those different enemies. So you have guys wielding katanas, baseball bats, guns, and your objective as part of this is to complete certain goals, complete certain game goals before you take too many bullets. The way it works is really innovative. It's a 1 to 3 player game, plays in a bunch of different ways, plays solo, plays co-op, plays versus, plays 2 versus 1. It has a lot of game in just a little box, and it's incredibly innovative. It's actually based off of another game called Agent Decker, done by this designer Manuel Correa, and he adapted it for Superhot, and the theme of the mechanic just gels. This idea of time not moving until you move. Effectively, this track that has these different cards in them, whether they be guys with katanas or guys with weapons or obstacles, don't advance forward unless you're playing cards out of your hand to advance. So there's some element of the game will move as fast or as slow as you play cards out.
The only game I can think of, because that's a pretty unique mechanic. The only thing I could think of is in Lost Cities. I don't know if have you played Lost Cities, the 2-player game? Yeah. You know how you can slow the game down at the end by trading out cards to the middle instead of drafting cards?
Yes.
But that's one of my favorite parts of Lost Cities. So if that's what Superhot has, I love that mechanic.
It's a different thing. It's a little different in that you're controlling time. Time is such a core piece of that because it was such a core piece of the video game itself. It's central to this. It's central to what makes this unique and what sets it apart.
Do I need to know the video game to enjoy this game?
Not at all. I've never played the video game myself.
Okay.
I've never played it myself, and for my money, it looks really stylish. It has this unique graphic look to it, and we're working on a revised rulebook for it. The rules that we got initially, we're trying to tweak a little bit just to make things a little clearer, add some more examples. We'll see. That should be coming out with a newer edition that we're going to be putting out there. This one itself, though, there are plenty of how to play videos on this, and it goes pretty smooth. It goes down pretty smooth, PJ. I got to tell you.
Your arch nemesis says, don't forget Burgle Brothers also does something. And he's right about that. I've only played Burgle Brothers twice, and I've never beaten it. But it does have a similar mechanic to that a little bit. What's the difference between these two games?
Well, so Burgle Brothers, everything kind of freezes, if I'm recalling correctly, when you aren't on the floor moving around. This one is literally the entire game doesn't move unless you're playing cards out of your hand to move the game forward. It really is that is so central to it. It's not even funny.
Cooperative or competitive?
It's both. It's initially the core game, you would say, is a solo game.
Okay. But
it works just fine as a cooperative game. It works just fine as a versus game. And there's a 2 versus 1 mode as well to expand it up to 3 players. I would say it probably would be best as a solo or a co-op would be my recommended player counts for it. But it could work fine as a versus too.
Hey, my mind wanders sometimes. You said solo game.
Yeah, it's at its core, but it can play with 2 and plays pretty well with 2.
Let me throw a tangent for you.
Yeah, let's hear it.
For the news next week, I'm assuming the blow up of Seventh Continent, which to me is essentially a solo game, that's got to make the news next week. Is that something you were looking at?
Yeah, show notes. Okay, good. I've got O'Rourke buying this.
Hey,
Steve, it's up for pre-order. It's up for pre-order on the website right now. As of today.
Gumbo live with its first sale during broadcast. This is amazing. Thank you, Steve O'Rourke.
It's my job. That's what I'm supposed to be doing.
Phone lines are open. Donations are available. Please support public.
Open your heart. Open your heart to our wonderful games.
No, I've never played Seventh Continent. It looks like a solo game to me, or at least from what a couple of our friends, the way Jake from Draft Mechanic talked about it, and a couple of other people have talked about it, that it excels at a solo game. And it did 500,000 when I last checked before I left for that scout meeting. I don't know where it is now, but it was at 400-something thousand for what is essentially a kind of a solo game. Yeah, that's crazy numbers to me. But good job for the developers of Seventh Continent with this re-Kickstarter on pulling it up. Sorry about the tangent, but solo games.
There's an audience for that too. Absolutely, and you got guys at low player count, for instance, who love talking about those kinds of games that are solo or 2-player experiences. And there's a crowd out there for it. And I think there's enough folks there are situations where you can't necessarily get friends to the table. And I will tell you this, BJ, I'm not a solo gamer typically.
I was about to ask you.
I'm not. I'm really not. This is an interesting enough solo game that I would break it out and play it. Separately from that, though, because it plays well enough at 2, and there's a teamwork element, and you can play it as a co-op, it works just fine at 2. I would play it 1 or 2. I've not tried it yet at 3. I can't vouch for it at 3 yet.
Have you ever played a solo game other than this?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I reviewed for the show. I couldn't tell you the episode, but I did a solo review of a solo game when we reviewed Friday. I think I was out of town and I recorded an episode.
You did
short Freeze and Freeze Friday one. Yeah,
I do. You were out of town and you recorded it. I forgot about that. I've never played Friday. Yay, nay? I don't remember your review.
I think I give it a 3.
You know what I've soloed that I like? All of Jamie Stegmaier's games. Scythe and Viticulture. I'm not finished with Scythe yet, but I did all of the ones for Viticulture, and I started on Scythe. They're really good.
Okay.
Especially if you're trying to learn the game, it's a great way to work through the mechanics and to give yourself some competition and to see, oh wait, there's some different strategies here. Same thing with Imperial Settlers. I'm a big fan of Imperial Settlers. Yeah, and that was another great solo experience. Imperial Settlers, the rules, the only thing about Portal games, the rules are always a little bit wonky, but I was able to work through them. And another one, New Bedford has a great solo experience. If you haven't tried that, I mean, I like solo gaming. It doesn't bother me. I don't do a lot of it, but if I find a game I like and it's a Wednesday night or something, or a Thursday night, I don't have anything better to do, I might just pull that out.
You know what plays great solo, BJ?
What's that?
Baseball Highlights 2045, first mention.
There it is, first mention. I don't think I've ever played it solo.
It's actually fantastic. Do you know what you do for it?
No, I don't. I've never even tried it.
You take the free agent deck, shuffle it all up, and get 15 cards. Just draw 15 random free agent cards, and you basically just flip up a card each time for the computer, for the AI, and you play against that. You play against the card of 15 free agents. It is surprisingly good.
Do you still get to do the buy round?
Yeah, absolutely. You do buy rounds. They don't.
Okay.
I mean, they're a computer.
Because I would just give them the worst card that doesn't fit with their deck.
No, you can't do that.
Oh, okay.
But what does happen that's interesting is people have gone online and created 15 card teams that all mesh together or might be especially hard to beat and say, okay, beat this 15 card team. Good luck. It's awesome. It's an awesome solo game, actually.
Have you noticed that any of the base teams are better than the others?
Here's the thing. I love Baseball Highlights, but I'm not the kind of guy who gets so deep into a game that I find those optimal things, right? And I probably should. I have not even an inkling. And maybe they're perfectly balanced. I don't know for sure. It's just not something I ever pay attention to because the focus of that game for me is so much about the free agents and making sure you're upgrading your team. I can look through a starter deck and think whether I like it or not, but I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, LA's better than San Francisco or Boston's better than New York.
That UK team that I brought with me, one of the expansions, the UK team, it was pretty powerful, man.
Pretty killer, huh?
And both of the guys, as I recall, both of the guys that made it to the finals used the UK to go all the way. They couldn't play the same team at the end. I think they had to switch out, but at least one of them had the UK team and talked about how powerful it was. That was fun, by the way, doing that Dice Tower. Can we make that a tradition? We've done it twice.
That's the second year in a row we've done it. That was year number 2 of it.
Yeah.
Max from back in Albuquerque won it last year. Now I will say this: did Jack use his championship win as a way to pick up any ladies?
Not that I know of.
Not that you know of. You should check just to be sure. It seems like it might work.
Did it work for Max?
He already has a girlfriend, so he didn't need to do that. I don't know what Jack's status is. So.
I will check to see if Jack has used that as a line. I can see him walking around Cougar Stadium saying, "Hey, by the way, I was the Baseball Highlights 2045 winner this year."
When he just says this, he was baseball, and then mumbles a little while. Champion.
It's a good idea.
Champion. Yeah,
right, good idea. No, that was a lot of fun. And now that you're going to be at more cons, it seems you've got your con duties, but it seems like you could keep evangelizing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. At nights I'll be free, and certainly Baseball Highlights is going to come out in those situations. But yeah, I'm also going to be playing a lot of Gray Fox stuff because that's my gig.
I'm curious, has Mike ever said to you whether or not there's been a Dukes of Dice effect based on sales of Baseball Highlights 25? That game is still selling. Yep. It's still doing well on Kickstarter. And it's been a couple of years now. Usually a game like that you would think would kind of fade out a little bit. But
I'm not going to take 100% credit for that because it's a fantastic game. And if it wasn't a fantastic game, it doesn't matter how much I evangelize about it. It's not gonna do well. I have to hope that maybe there's some small effect of people who learned about that game or got introduced to it or even played it or gave it a try because of me. But I'm not going to take credit for that thing having continued success. There are plenty of people who evangelize about games and it doesn't have any sort of effect on anything. So I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Well, this is BJ from Board Game Gumbo here with Gumbo Live. I've got Alex Goldsmith, Dukes of Dice, and also Gray Fox Games. After a whirlwind, seems like 6 months, you finally settled in St. Louis.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about the gaming scene in St. Louis for anybody that's thinking about traveling.
Man, I want to get more involved in it, and I'm still working on getting more involved with it, but it's fantastic. I mean, you get a place like Pieces here in St. Louis that is a board game bar and restaurant, and they have been hopping. They've been doing great business. Jamie Stegmeyer held his Design Day event there over the weekend. Apparently it was crazy busy. But even beyond that, the sheer number of companies that are here in St. Louis is just nuts. I mean, you have us over at Gray Fox. You have Miniature Market, one of the big online retailers is based here.
Right.
Board Game Tape does business here. You have Stonemeyer Games here. Greater Than Games, who's Sentinels of the Multiverse, Spirit Island. And there's even another one. Genius Games is another one that's here. So
say it again, you cut out. What did you say?
That's Genius Games.
Ingenious Games?
No, just Genius.
Genius. No, I don't know them.
They do a little more educational games, classroom games.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So how did you get hooked up with the St. Louis gaming scene?
It's basically been just moving here.
You've been going to Dukes of Dice night forever, right?
Man, I do miss it still. I do.
So how'd you pull that off? I mean, how was the transition?
The transition is tricky because the Dukes night is such a special thing. I mean, you're talking about going there every Wednesday from 6 p.m. to midnight, maybe 12:31 some nights.
Rory keeps it open that late?
Oh, yeah. It used to be only open until 11 officially, and then people were staying late enough, and there were enough people there that it ultimately was midnight. And they'll let you finish your game. They're not going to kick you out before midnight. So, and oftentimes it's Rory there playing that late. So it's a special thing, man. It's hard to replicate. Pieces is a good spot, though. Pieces is a real good spot. I just haven't quite gotten hooked up. I will say the St. Louis Gaming Meetup has something like 2,000, 3,000 members. It's an insanely large group. And there's certainly
how many did you say?
Like 2,000, 3,000 in the meetup group.
Wow.
Yeah. It's nuts, and I have not quite got my feet on the ground as far as that just yet because I've been traveling. I've been trying to get the apartment set up. I'm going to get more into it. It's hard to replace that Dukes night, though. It really is.
And you guys, for local, or let's say not local, regional cons, Geekway to the West, I've heard so much about.
I'm really excited about
Will this be your first one?
Yes, it will. Yeah.
All right, so my next goal was, can I get Alex fired from the embargo? How can I get that done? You know what I'm talking about.
A rift between me and my buddy Jamie Stegmeyer. Come on now.
How can I get that done?
Not happening.
Have you had enough root beer to drink yet? Why don't you take another swig of that root beer?
That's root beer. Yes, root beer. Absolutely.
Yeah, take another swig. So, I don't want to play too much insider baseball.
Sure.
The embargo, you've become friends with Jamie Stegmeyer. You guys have known him for a while. And I broadcast this on Twitter, by the way. I was one of the ones that I had heard about and put it up, that you guys were one of the 10 finalists for Charterstone and are going to get advanced copies. In fact, you may have yours already, no?
Sean, yeah, it'd be Sean who would have it. Yeah, Sean has it.
Well, the Ducal Wii is what I meant.
The Ducal Wii, of course.
So tell me, Charterstone, how is that going to work with Sean over there and you're over here? How's that going to work?
It actually turns out to be pretty ideal in some ways, in that sometimes when we're playing a game together over the course of the show, we will influence each other's opinions. There's no two ways about it, whether it was between two cities. There have been plenty of games where Sean's influenced me. When you have two reviewers sitting at the same table playing enough stuff together, that influence is going to come out. I think this is going to allow us to have two completely separate opinions, and you're going to hear a couple of different experiences of how a game is. And that's not just for Charterstone. That's going to be for any number of other games that we're going to be talking about. And so as a result, with Charterstone, because it's a legacy game, the way we're making that work is Sean is playing with a group out in Albuquerque. I'm going to be playing with a group here in St. Louis. And by going to be playing, I mean have already been playing 4 games so far. Not going to tell you anything about how those games were or were not. But in Jamie Stegmeier's group, it's actually his first time playing the final version of this, and so it's an interesting experience. I've never reviewed it with the designer, but that's what we're going to do to make that work.
Yeah, and what was that card again? You were saying the card you were talking about.
Nope. Nice
All right, so BJ from Board Game Gumbo here. We're at Gumbo Live. I'm talking with my buddy Alex Goldsmith from the Dukes of Dice and from Gray Fox Games. What's up next for the Dukes? You guys are going to Vegas, baby?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, tell me about that.
I'm still waiting for them to send us an email along the lines of, hey, we realize you guys aren't actually famous enough to invite out to this thing.
Well, no, isn't it, if I remember right, it's Unrivaled Tournament featuring the Dukes of Dice, also appearing Will Wheaton.
Yeah, Will Wheaton also just happened to be there. Yeah, it's crazy. That was a bit of a surprise, but we're excited to be there. And still, even right now, don't know the exact role we're going to have as part of that. But we'll be there. And for any folks from Vegas, we're excited to meet up and say hi and hang out and check out the town and see what the gaming scene there is like beyond the gambling gaming scene.
Sure, but clarify me for me. It looks like there's 5 or 6 games that you can play, or like I threw out a challenge to Matthew Ward. Hey, I saw that. I want to take you on in King of Tokyo.
Yeah.
But when I was throwing out the challenge, it looked like you're kind of limited to those 6 games, right? I can't just say I want to play Viticulture.
Right. Yeah, no, because those are the games that they're having the final. They're having cash prizes. I think the top prize, and I'm doing this off the top of my head, so bear with me. I think it's $10,000 for the winner in each of these categories of games. So they're giving out some serious prize money for this.
Well, that'll be fun. So you're going to let us know, I guess, what your role is going to be. It's not.
No, you'll know. I'll put it that way. And it may be just hanging out and spreading the word and letting folks know about the thing, which I guess we've done. And we'll see where it goes from there. But yeah.
Second tangent for you.
Let's hear it.
So you guys talked about Spirit Island on the last episode, and I know you guys are going to be reviewing it, so I don't want to get into your review at all.
No, of course.
I just want to ask you a question. So I've only played it once. We've got a guy that kickstarted the Mega Edition. He's got everything.
Oh man!
And the game has been played at Gumbo Game Nights at least 3 times, and each one is run. And so again, I'm not going into the review part.
Sure.
Stop me if you're uncomfortable. But what I wanted to talk about is it's taken us 3 to 4 hours to play the game.
Yeah. It's a long game.
Are we doing something wrong, or is that something that you guys are seeing?
I can't speak for Sean's experience because I don't know what Sean's experience has been of it. I will say it was, I think, 3 hours with the teach. And this was with a guy from Greater Than Games who taught and set up and is one of their best demoers, knows what he's doing, can streamline things as best as he can. I think it might just be a long game.
Man, I want to like the game, and I played the first game, and I really want to like it, and I'll wait to hear your thoughts whenever you do the review. But man, when if it's going to be that long of a game, I've played 3 or 4 hour games where at the end of the game you're like, holy cow, that was 3 hours. I didn't even notice. This was not one of them. This was one of them where I had fun individually during the turns and what I was doing. And then there was 20 or 30 minutes where I'm going, wow, man, okay, we're still deciding. We're still talking about the same point here. There's just, I find the game a little bit AP inducing, and it kills me because if you told me the game, it's a cooperative game with a crazy theme that's got modules built in to do historical simulations, semi-historical. It's got these awesome look. I mean, it's got a great table presence. So it looks good on the table.
It's great.
It's got variable play. Every person is going to do something completely different. And not only that, it doesn't feel pasted on. If you're the spirit guy, you really feel like you're scaring the colonists, Yeah. If you're the water guy, you're attacking all of the edges of the board. So it's got everything that would have said to me A+. But for some reason, for me, the game drags. So I'm going to wait to hear. That's just a little tease for the viewers. I'm going to wait to hear.
Have you played Sentinels of the Multiverse?
No, they played it behind me last Wednesday night. So I've seen it 2 or 3 times. I've just never got a chance to play it.
Also done by Greater Than Games.
Right. It's
one of those that plays for me much better on the app when you're managing all 4 people. And you can enjoy those it's the best solo I think that I've played as far as a board gaming app is Sentinels of the Multiverse. And as a tabletop experience, it's one that's kind of broken by the app for reasons similar to what's going on with Spirit Island, I think. And yeah, we'll talk about that in the next episode of the Dukes of Dice in a little less than 2 weeks.
Yep, a little quick tease there. So, yeah, that is Spirit Island. Why so slow? I'm anxious to hear what you guys say.
I think it's more of a show.
Yeah, you kind of hinted around about that, so I know where you're leaning to, but that's okay. Let's tease it for the audience, right? All right, so you know that one of the things that we do to end our broadcast is we play a little game called the Envie game. It's a good old Cajun word that just means you got, what would you Yankees say? A hankering, maybe. Isn't that a word Alex Goldsmith uses every day?
Hankering, absolutely. Got a hankering for a roast beef sandwich. That's what I always say every single day.
I've got the envie to play a game. So the way this game works is it's not a game it doesn't have to be a game that you own. It could be a game you don't own. It could be a game you've played. It could be a game you haven't played before. Just a game that you're interested. Just a game that right now jonesing. Okay, there it is. Steve O'Rourke helped me out with it. With a good word.
Use that one in New York.
Yeah, exactly. But that's a good word, jonesing it for. So, but envie, it's the word that we would use. So I am curious. Do you have a word, Mr. Goldsmith? Do you have
a game in my head? I do have a game in my head. I've prepared for this.
Okay, good. I've got 20 questions to try to figure it out.
Excellent.
I brought in a ringer. I've got Steve O'Rourke here to help me.
The name father, my arch nemesis and rival.
Exactly. And his questions do not count. But he wins if he can figure out the game before I do. I win if I can figure out the game within 20.
Do I have to answer these questions truthfully?
You absolutely have to answer them because it would be a long night if you didn't answer it truthfully. So
that's fair.
So what I usually do is I try to spend the early part of the broadcast trying to figure out. But I already listen to you every week, so you would think I would be okay on this game. I was terrible with Carla. Carla Kopp just dusted me with her game.
All right.
I was mad at myself because I'd done some. I'm stalling, by the way, right now.
That's fine.
I was mad at myself because I had done some show research and I listened to a podcast with her where she mentioned the very game she used in the Envie game. So I was really mad at myself. All right. So the first question I'm going to ask, unless Steve O'Rourke has a question, because of course his questions don't count for me. Is it a cooperative game?
It is not a cooperative game.
All right, so we know it's a competitive game. Is it a game from an American designer?
I'm going to double check that. I'm not.
Take all the time you need.
I have quickly looked at the BGG entry for this, and I will say yes.
Can you send the screen to me so I can double check?
I will not be doing that.
Man, I just noticed how red I am from the camp out. Wow, man. I got a lot of sun. Yeah, I got a lot of sun on the bike ride. Sorry. I know. Scoutmaster BJ. All right. Let me see. So it is not an American designer.
It is an American designer.
Oh, it is. I wrote that down wrong. So it's an American designer. It's not a co-op. All right. Would you consider it a highly thematic experience?
Yes.
Knowing from what I know, I would have guessed that you would have picked that one because you would agree that you gravitate towards, like me, you like the big theme in games.
I do. I think it can save a game that's too heavy. I think it can save an experience that maybe has some other issues. If a game has that thematic tie and it's good, absolutely. So yeah. No, you know me. You know me well.
I'm going to keep stalling here.
That's fine. You're not getting any help apparently. O'Rourke says you're on your own.
I know. I'm waiting for him to chime in. So Sean doesn't like Aquasphere, and I don't get that at all. It's the only Feld that I've ever played that seems to have a theme to it.
So here's the thing. Do you like Castles of Burgundy?
Yeah, I do. Actually, I like it, yeah. I like Aquasphere better.
I was back and forth on that for a while. I ultimately settled on Castles of Burgundy is a better game. But I agree with you that I feel the theme more in Aquasphere, and I enjoy the theme more in Aquasphere. Oracle at Delphi was trying to be a really thematic experience, and it just didn't quite click for me.
I've only played it once, so it's one of those things where I call that a first impression. I wouldn't review it, and I'm not really a reviewer in any way, as the Gumbo people will tell you. I'm not really a reviewer. I like too many games. I like playing games. So I haven't gotten to that level like you guys where you can say, I'm going to give this I'm going to unleash the 2. I can't do that yet. Well, I can't do that yet because, I've got a stressful job and I'm sitting on Wednesday nights playing with my buddies, playing a game. Even if it's a bad game, I'm still having a good time.
Yeah, I get
so how do you do that? How do you separate yourself from being that critical eye from the fact that you're playing a board game with cardboards with your buddy?
It's an expectation of us to say because it's Delphi number 1. Get out of here, David. I don't even know who you are. Get out of here. I will say Sean really liked Delphi. I did not. What was I saying? Saying something.
How do you separate yourself from the critical analysis, from the fact that you're sitting there drinking a beer with Matthew Ward, Grumpy Matt? I mean, just enjoying yourself.
It's Grumpy Man Matthew at the table. It's really easy to figure out whether you like or don't like something.
True. He's opinionated.
He is definitely opinionated. David, I will hate all I want, all day or a day.
Saints fan, by the way, number 1 Saints fan, David Dugas.
It came up. And what are the Saints these days? Anyway, we're going to get into a football tangent. We're going to be way off track. And I'm a Dolphins guy, and we're going to be pretty iffy this year.
Nick Saban's team? Oh my God!
Yeah, Nick Saban's team for like this long, for that long. Anyway,
he cost you Drew Brees, by the way. Don't ever forget that.
That was such a bad thing, and I can't remember who we got instead of Drew Brees.
You got Donovan McNabb, if I remember right. No, Dante Culpepper. One of the two.
It was Culpepper. Yeah. I will answer Mr. O'Rourke's question, which apparently does not count.
Not for my questions.
I would say no. Cards are not central in this game.
Okay, interesting. Cards are not central in the game.
Yeah. And to answer your other question, the fact that we have different opinions on the show means we're reviewing something that one of us will like and one of us will not like in some cases. And as a result of that, you got to express your opinion. And you may be having a fun time at game night and not having fun with the game. You can be critical about a game and still be having fun at game night. I can separate those two out really easily. In fact, some of my best experiences so far at Gray Fox are when we play test a prototype that is just bad, terrible. And it's hilarious. It's hilarious. Man, we're going to get too many questions off of this.
I'm counting them. I'm counting them this time because I did bring a ringer in. So
yeah, man, oh man. All right, he's asking if it's highly luck dependent. I would say
a lot of chaos in these games.
Not highly luck dependent.
Wait, you cut out. What'd you say?
Not highly luck dependent, I would say.
All right, so let's recap. It's not a co-op. It's an American designer. It's a highly thematic game, and cards are not central to the game. And correct. You don't think it's highly luck dependent? Not.
That's. And I will say for that last question, it's more debatable than some of the answers to the other ones, if that makes sense.
Is it a game from Greater Than Games?
No. That was a wasted question, BJ.
Yeah, I was. I just go with my gut sometimes, man. I go with my gut sometimes. I guessed at one time because the guy kept talking about elements of the game during the broadcast. Yeah, it was Derek Dooley, who's got a Kickstarter out for Ancient Artifacts right now. And Derek's like, I screwed up. I picked a game, and then I let me talk about the elements of the game, and then it was easy to pick it up from there. Try to work on the mechanics. Oh, what is he saying there? Okay, so does it involve dice?
I believe there are dice in the game.
All right.
Now I will say.
Oh, I like that question, and I will take that question.
I didn't see the questions. What are the questions? What's this question? How recent?
Yeah. Is it in the last 3 years?
It is not in the last 3 years.
Does it have a Western theme?
Western theme meaning what? Meaning cowboys? Meaning
cowboys. Cowboys and Indians type thing. It's not King of Tokyo, Dave Dugas. Come on.
It's not King of Tokyo, and that's I won't count the King of Tokyo thing. But it's not a Western theme. No.
Does it have a science fiction theme?
No.
That's 10 questions, Steve O'Rourke. All right, so to recap, not a co-op, American designer, highly thematic game. Cards are not central. It's not highly luck dependent, so it wouldn't be King of Tokyo, Dave. Not a game from Greater Than Games. There are dice in the game, but it's not highly luck dependent. It's not in the last 3 years, which is throwing me off a little bit. Not a Western.
I'm going to slightly amend an answer here. Just a little tweak.
Okay.
To be clear, there are cards in the game, but it's more of a board game than a card game. That's a freebie.
More of a board game than a card game.
So I'm not necessarily amending my earlier answer, but I'm giving you.
Okay. Is it by Kane Klinko?
No. Man, you're just burning questions left and right here. What are you doing?
I'm not good at this game.
That's no.
Stalling for time so Steve could think of something. You just got to go with your gut sometimes, man.
Okay.
I was thinking it might have been Fugitive or one of those type of games. You know what I mean? But no.
El Grande, I think, is not an American designer.
No, that's a European designer.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a hero. I'm going to look that up real fast.
El Grande. I can't think of who did that one.
El Grande is a Kramer game, Wolfgang Kramer. So no, not an American designer.
Yeah, no, not him.
Yep. Other piece of information, it's not El Grande.
I'm not going to make that guess. I can figure that one out. So it's
how many questions we have, BJ?
That's 11 questions. So I still have 9 questions here. If I could, I'm missing the question that's going to get me to the game. There's always one question.
Maybe you should ask about another specific designer. I'm sure that'll do it.
Yeah, just keep naming designers. How many American designers can there be? Look me in the eye there, Alex. Look, yeah, let's see it. Let me think. Yeah, now I can see it, what it is. Let me see. I was thinking thematics, and I knocked off the 2 big ones. Not a Western or not a sci-fi theme. I really was thinking you were going to go with one of the award winners, like Great Western Trail or something like that. But
I'm not going to let you off the hook with that easy.
Yeah. So it wouldn't be Terraforming Mars. Yeah. Oh, good question from Dave. Does it have miniatures?
No.
No miniatures. Now, I'm marking this as a Dave question, but it is a good question. Let's see. Let's see. So you said it did have a board.
Yeah, you got that one for free.
Yep. Oh, I like this question. Ooh, very. See, that's why he's the name father, and I'm not.
Okay.
I'm going to take that question. Have you and Sean discussed it on the podcast?
I am going to say I actually genuinely don't know. I genuinely don't know. It's a maybe.
I'm calling foul.
Whatever you want. I'm going to say I don't.
Shenanigans.
But here's the thing. That lets you know it's not a game we've reviewed.
Yeah, you would remember that.
And it's probably not a play we've talked about.
Are you bringing the heat like a really obscure game, Alex Goldsmith?
No. Okay. I played by your rules. You wanted a game that I genuinely want to play. Yeah. No, I'm playing that fair and square.
Has it been nominated or won any awards? That's a fair question.
Not to my knowledge.
Not to your knowledge. So not a big award.
And I will check the BGG entry really fast. I don't think so. No. I'm going to say no.
Was it ever on Kickstarter?
No. I can say for sure it was not on Kickstarter.
A lot of no's, man. I need some yeses.
Ask
the right questions, counselor. All right, so to recap, BJ from Board Game Gumbo here, Gumbo Live, September 26th. I've got Alex Goldsmith from the Dukes of Dice and from Gray Fox Games. We're playing the Envie game, trying to figure out the game that he's thinking in his head, the one he really wants to play, the one Steve O'Rourke says Alex has a jonesing for. It's not a co-op. It is an American designer. It's a highly thematic game. Cards are not central to the game. So it wouldn't be.
And again, with the cards, just take that.
It may have cards, but it's not central to the game. Not highly luck dependent, but there are dice. No, Dave, that's not true. It doesn't eliminate everything by Simon. It eliminates ethnos because ethnos is by Paola Maori. So that's
you have the 3-year rule. And you asked me about 3 years.
And it's not in the last 3 years. That's right. That's true. That's a good one. Yeah, good point there. Not a Western theme, not a sci-fi theme. For some strange reason, it's not a Kane Klinko. No miniatures.
Not greater than games game. Yeah.
Not a greater than games. You had to mention that one too. Don't know if it's been on the podcast, which tells us it's not a Boxcars Award winner. It's not one of your big reviews.
That'd be way too easy.
Yeah, not a big award winner, and it's never been on Kickstarter to your knowledge. You're pretty confident about that.
I'm actually really confident about that.
Okay. Is it a male designer?
Yes. Probably.
Wait, what?
Probably.
No, you got to say yes or no on that one.
BJ, all will be revealed as soon as all the questions are done. I will say probably is my answer to that question.
Are there more than one designer?
I don't know.
Okay, well, that one doesn't quite then. Steve wants to know if there's standard 6-sided dice in the game.
Let me do a quick little bit of research, and I will tell you.
You're throwing me off on this answer. Probably a male designer.
Will make a lot of sense.
Yeah, probably so.
While if you guys get there.
Dave, that's not how it works. We have to ask what the
picking the components. Yes, absolutely. 6-sided dice. 6-sided dice are absolutely included. What mechanics is not a legal question, David?
Say his last name. I want to hear that again.
Dugas? Is that right?
Very nice. Yeah, Dave Dugas. That's nice.
Yeah. Rhymes with sugar.
Not quite, but yeah, we'll make a Cajun out of you someday, man.
I like. Hey, that's, by the way, top state on my list of U.S. states to visit. Louisiana.
Listen, if ever you come to Louisiana, you can always stay at Dave Dugas' house. I can make that happen.
Good, excellent. And he'll probably make me play Oracle at Delphi.
You can stay right here in the Gumbo, this big empty room.
It's like in a gumbo pot. Are you going to turn me into gumbo?
I can make you some gumbo though. Yeah,
I would love that.
I'll make you some gumbo. I had seafood gumbo Saturday night. I had some crabs and shrimp seafood gumbo.
You are stalling at the moment.
I am stalling. All right, so I've only got 4 questions left. So this is looking pretty bad for the home team. It's not a co-op. It's American designer, highly thematic game. Cards are part, but not central to the game, or could be part. Not highly luck dependent, but it does have dice in the game. Steve figured out that they are standard 6-sided dice. It's not from Greater Than Games. It's not a Kane Klinko game. It's not a new hotness. It's not a Western or science fiction game. Not sure if it's been on the podcast. Not a big award winner, and it's not on Kickstarter. Never been on Kickstarter. Probably a male designer.
Probably.
Hey, is it Dave Dugas wants to guess Delphi. Is it Oracle at Delphi? That's not an American designer.
That's not. I'm not counting that for you. I think he's referring to when I said I played Delphi with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what he's saying. Okay, I'm sorry. Oh, I apologize, Dave. I wasn't paying attention. I was recapping it. Hey, so is it would you consider it a short game, like 30? One of those 30-minute games or less?
I'm gonna check the play length. Yes, I would consider it a short game.
30 minutes or less, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. Steve says, good question. Yeah, maybe my only one tonight. So that narrows down the field, but still highly thematic in less than 30 minutes. Let's see. Well, I did not mean to make you look bad, Dave. I thought I wasn't paying attention to the question.
If you have your own show, you can make anyone look bad.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, I got to play games with him tomorrow night, and he usually beats me. Let's see. Man, Steve, you got something? I got 3 questions left, man. Let's see. 30 minutes or less. Not in the hotness. Oh, hey, you know what I didn't ask? Well, yeah, no, you really want to play it. Have you played this game before?
No. No.
Interesting. And not interesting is the way you and Sean would say it.
Yeah, right. Just actually interesting. Yeah.
Actually interesting. So
I have not played this game, which is why I've had to do some quick research in the midst of things.
Played it before. Steve, that's a tough one, man.
You didn't think I was bringing the heat. Come on now.
Yeah, you are. This is definitely a fastball, man. This is 95. Let me think. Or I'm just really bad at this game, which is probably.
You're not giving me triple digits?
What's that?
Oh, you have a question.
Good one. Good one, Dave. What do you think, Alex? Is there money or currency in the game?
Let me double check.
That's an open-ended question. I want to hear how you're going to answer it.
Well, no, it's a yes or no. I can answer that yes or no, depending on what the deal is. Hang on. Still looking. Trying to discern that information. Because I actually genuinely am not sure.
Probably a male designer. God, you're throwing me off with that answer. Probably a male designer.
That's what the answer is.
Man. I even wore Dice Tower Con shirt, man.
As best as I can, and you can choose to count this, not count this question or count this question. I'm going to say there is likely some form of currency in the game.
Okay.
I can't totally tell from without like doing an extensive read up on them. Let me look at the rules sheet here. This might be able to tell me. Pardon the close up, everyone. Reading close.
Is it? Do you use?
I'm changing my answer. There is no currency in the game, as best I can tell. That's my answer.
Yeah, that eliminates a couple of games I was thinking. So that does help a little bit. That's from Dave. Let's see.
I'll tell you that much. Is that what you were?
What's that?
Thinking? It's not Monopoly.
No, not Monopoly. I wasn't thinking of that. I wasn't thinking of that. No, I was actually thinking Ponzi scheme as a potential game. 30 minutes, highly thematic, cards not central. Never heard you guys talk about that on the podcast.
Yeah.
Man, one question left. And
then you get one final guess. Is that how that works?
Yep, and I'll make one final guess. Man. Yeah, Steve O'Rourke, he's stumped just as I. You really threw us with that. You really threw us.
There was more than one designer, and I said I don't know.
Right.
So
that's important. The two questions together. So Steve, talk this out with me here. Although I can't hear you.
You could have him call in. I think you can give him that link.
I should have given him that link. Next time, Steve, we'll get you to come in on this thing. I try to get Dave every week, but he's always watching football or something.
On a Tuesday? What's going on Tuesday football-wise?
The World League of American Football.
He's making stuff out.
Oh, interesting question from Steve. I'll wait to hear you answer this before I ask my question.
I'm not giving you – wait.
The question, yes or no, is?
You have one question for you, Bum.
I have one question.
Yes.
These don't count. This is just questions from the audience.
Well, that's not a question. That's not even – it's phrased as a ... That's not a question.
His question, I'm transliterating. No, he says don't ask the question. He's just thinking out loud.
On the advice of my attorney, I refuse to answer this question.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Alex Goldsmith, you're a good player at this game. Let me see. And I thought I brought in the ringer this week, man.
He's good. I just may have thrown something your guys' way.
All right, so I like Dave. Dave's got a question for you. And that's two parts, of course, but he wants to know, does it have area control or worker placement?
Is this your question or is this his question?
This is from Dave. This is just Dave.
Oh, so this isn't your last and final question?
No, of course not. No. Didn't you say something about this being my show?
On the advice of my attorney, I refuse to answer his question.
Come on.
Those two. How about this? If you make that your question, I'll answer both of those.
Okay, I'll make it my question. Area control, or does it have area control or worker placement in it?
No.
Yeah, I wasn't going to ask that.
Well, why don't you make that your question?
I'm just picking on Dave. Oh, Jason from Jason, who, by the way, you met Jason.
Okay.
Yeah, if you go back on my Twitter feed, you'll see you taught Jason and Nick from Slidell from the North Shore how to play flip ships. Gave them a little brief. You remember when I went by and visited, and you were doing some of the demos on flip ships? So Jason was the big tall. Jason and Nick are two big guys. I got to play a couple of games with them. They're a lot of fun. Oh yeah, it's not Target. Is it on your? Jason just wants to know. Is it on your?
Anyway, Steve.
Target longer than 30 minutes? It took me about 30 minutes.
You put it on the app or whatever else. So are you going with Jason's question here? What was his question again?
Actually, I'm not asking any questions. This is just questions from the audience that you should answer for your fans.
Oh my goodness. Is it on my BGG wish list? That was it. Never updated that thing. I think I might have I'm pretty sure it's not on there. I'm actually dead sure it's not on there. So no.
And I am not going to guess Concordia because I know how you feel about Concordia, and you're wrong.
Okay, that's fair.
So, yes, is it some kind of fast card game? From David, not from me.
No, it's not. Well, wait. Cards are not central to the game, I wouldn't say, but there are cards in the game. And it plays in 30 minutes. So by that definition, but are we talking Happy Salmon Quick? Because it's not Happy Salmon Quick.
Let's see.
There are dice, Mr. O'Rourke. Yes, they are 6-sided.
There are dice.
Man, you've asked 5 last questions here.
I've been very quiet. I don't know what you're talking about. I've been very quiet. Your fans have woken up and are trying to save me here.
I'm calling your bill. BJ. What's your last question here?
Well, I asked my last question. And that was the worker placement and the area control, and you said neither one.
Mm-hmm. Neither one.
Yeah. So, I am. You threw me off with the probably a male designer thing. I am going to shoot. I'm going to ask you one last question. Is it? No, never mind. It's never been on Kickstarter. So I thought I might have had a person. I just don't have it, man. I'm going to say, is it, man, I can't remember if you've ever played Burgle Brothers. Is it Burgle Brothers? Is that the game?
I played Burgle Brothers and it's not that.
Yeah, because I don't think you've ever mentioned on the, all right, you got me. Wait, hold on. Steve has a last minute Hail Mary. I think he's right. Much older game. It's way back there, and we haven't thought about it. But what American designer would be way back there? All right, so you've won, but is there a hint that you would give us that we would probably figure this game out?
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. That's the hint.
McDonald's, the Happy Meal game? No way.
Yeah.
Is it American design?
It's a Parker Brothers game, and it's fully. I sent you the link to the BGG article for it.
Just popping it up there. There it is, the McDonald's game.
The designer is uncredited. Hard to answer.
Now that you say it, that would have been the tip-off because that's typically the way those Hasbro Milton Bradley games are.
But I was fun saying it's a Bradley game. Are you kidding, Steve O'Rourke? So here's the thing: if you are. That
was worth the game right there.
Flip the Table named that their favorite game of all time.
The name father's killing me right now.
David wants to throw his phone. Apparently, it's a lot of fun. Apparently, it's a ton of fun. It's a quick order reading and filling game. It is highly thematic.
You are wrong for that.
I'm sure the Gumbo crowd against me.
The only thing worse would have been that eBay game if you had thrown out the eBay game. Now I was gonna, and it's silly, Steve O'Rourke. I'm gonna call shenanigans not on him but on the audience because he talked about Heartthrob. He pulled it out.
Well, he might not have been here for that.
Oh, that's
Heartthrob right here.
Yeah, so already you brought out a Milton Bradley game. Again, if we're paying attention.
And this is Flip the Table. This was the runner-up for Flip the Table best game of the podcast ever.
O'Rourke is killing it with these comments here. I'm not loving it. No, you know what? Look, had I been paying attention, I should have zigged and said, okay, he's not thinking, it's not an award winner. He doesn't know who the designer is, blah, blah, blah. That should have been the tip. Hey, is it one of these mass market Milton Bradley type games? If we said that, I still would have never guessed McDonald's in a million years.
You gotta listen to Flip the Table, man. That show is amazing.
You know, I've only listened to one episode ever. So yeah, I never really listened to it. I should have. It's still on the feed, right? So I can go back and listen to them.
Absolutely. All of them are downloadable, including the one that we're. So if you want to listen to the McDonald's game and hear why I might be justified in having Envie.
The Envie.
Envie. I have the Envie for that game. I seriously do. By the way, I have a copy, and I never played it when I was there.
Oh, man. So next time.
Yeah.
Wait, they had it at Gen Con?
No. They have Empire. Empire back in
Empire. I thought you said Gen Con.
No, it's not a Gen. This game came out in 1975.
So Jason's backing me up. I don't feel so bad now.
No, I give you a very hard one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, there's Dave Dugas with talking about how much he likes their old retro game segment.
What's all right? It isn't. Food Chain Magnate is awful. Wait. Are you going to spark me into the Food Chain Magnate thing? Okay, for listeners of the show, Food Chain Magnate, this is one of the best episodes of the Dukes in some ways because I'd had a couple of beers, just a couple, and man, I tore into that thing on theme. Because here's the thing. You pay in that game for ads, but the ads are for like generic hamburgers or milkshakes or slices.
You were so mad about that.
I'm furious. McDonald's game is very thematic because you're actually legitimately filling out like a crazy customer's order in the game.
You heard it here first. Alex Goldsmith called the McDonald's game a highly thematic game.
You look it up and you tell me I'm wrong.
We'll have to play it. I will reserve judgment till we play it.
Okay. Don't judge the book on its cover.
I am interested. Dude, this was awesome. I really enjoyed you coming on the show. Board Game Gumbo live with Alex Goldsmith. Hope you had a good time being on the show.
Oh, that's a fantastic time.
Answering our questions.
I pissed off everyone who was watching. Apparently.
Well, look, 8% to 1%. I mean, to 7% is not that bad.
No, I mean, hey, you can only go up from there pretty much.
Yep, you're going straight up from there. Our guest tonight has been Alex Goldsmith from the Dukes of Dice and from Gray Fox Games, the master of fireworks.
Yeah, it was Suzanne's title. She's over at Restoration Games. Nope.
Messed it up again. Chief Noisemaker.
Chief Noisemaker, you got it.
Well, you turned off Dave Dugas from the Envie game, so. But
I've ruined your show. I've ruined your show.
Steve O'Rourke says no. It was a lot of fun. The tougher questions are a lot of fun. Yeah, sure, it's fun to guess the game, but it's also tough. It's also fun whenever we struggle with it like we did. You threw me off with that answer, and I really enjoyed that part.
Hey, what else am I supposed to answer with that? Probably a meal.
No, I think you're right. So, Alex, how can they reach you on social media if people want to get in touch with you?
So I am at AlexG_human is my personal Twitter account. I also do a lot of the Twitter work for Gray Fox Games. So you want to talk Gray Fox Games or any of those kinds of fun things, we're on social and paying attention. And you can hit me up there too. Or go to our Board Game Geek Guild for the Dukes of Dice, guild number 2008, and come join BJ and try and name an episode. That's exactly right. Or try to beat the name father on that. Look, good luck with the new job. Good luck with the bi-weekly podcast. I'm going to miss you guys doing it weekly, but it's going to make the podcast, I think, a little stronger because you guys have be able to focus more on what the episodes are going to be like. So I'm looking forward to the new format. I am BJ from Board Game Gumbo, at Board Game Gumbo on Twitter. You can hit me up anytime. And until next time, Alex, laissez le bon temps rouler. Bye. Peace out.